Today we're going to talk with Dianne Maurice and Linda Elliott about the Nipigon Hospital Auxiliary, past, present, maybe the future, and the fact that the hospital auxiliaries have always been around as long as there's been a hospital. And Nipigon is very fortunate that we've had a hospital here all these years, and fortunate that we've had volunteers who work as an auxiliary. So one of you may start about
Well, let me see.
when there was one, or maybe when you both started. When did you join?
You go first for that.
Diane, any idea?
I have got no idea. It was way back in the old hospital when they had the gift shop and volunteers that ran the gift shop and
Tuck cart to take
tuck
around.
card round and all that.
Okay, well, I know I started 50 years ago because that's when I moved to Nipigon. And my mother-in-law, who was here a couple of months before me, had gone to a hospital auxiliary meeting, so she suggested I go with her. And as it happened, the bank manager was moving. His wife had been the treasurer, and the first meeting I went to, I got elected treasurer for the, for the not hospital auxiliary. At that point, there were two hospital auxiliaries working through our hospital, one from Red Rock and one from Nipigon. We would take turns with days for the gift shop and to take the card around to the patients. We would take turns year about for tray favors, which we present to the residents and patients at the hospital on all of the special occasions, and with fancy napkins just to brighten up their trays a little bit. And we would each do our own thing with the New Year's baby. When I don't know when, but at one point the Red Rock Auxiliary, possibly because there weren't as many members and whatever, closed up, and Nipigon has carried on. We still do our tray favors. We have our Christmas bazaar, which is a major thing every year. It's our main fundraiser now. And that's about all. We don't have the membership either to keep going with all of the projects that we used to do. We still give to the hospital. We supply small things like bingo prizes and gifts for Christmas or birthdays when there are no family to do that. Money to help the girl who works with the
Program.
plants and things, horticultural stuff, to help the residents do planting and gardening. What else do we give money to?
The crafts.
For the craft person who works with the residents. And then about every second year, we go to each department in the hospital to see if they have a list of things that the budget wouldn't cover for them. They're usually just little things like a pair of scissors or something. Sometimes they're computers or music systems or whatever. And so we go around and see what they want, and if we can afford it, we buy most of those things.
Linda, I recently went through my history in my books, and can you believe at one time the hospital auxiliary sold 600 memberships?
Yes.
Because
We used to
everybody
go
in
door-
town,
Yes, we used to go door to door. We
Yes.
had the
Yeah.
people to do that. Everybody would take a couple of bucks.
everybody bought a membership
Yeah.
just to support the
Yeah,
hospital.
that also gave them a vote at the annual meeting, not that many of them used it.
Right.
But we used to go door to door, and we would get the people who wanted to bake for us from that, or the people that wanted to sew or knit or whatever. And we kind of miss that. You don't have the same outreach. And most of from when I first started, most of the people that really gave us big time hours have died. And we just can't replace them. The younger people are not interested in doing volunteer work, not this kind of volunteer work anyhow. They do help us. When we hit Chris Kringle, we have a lot of community support for that. But for other projects, like to take on, say, a dance or something like that, we just don't have the manpower for that.
Right. Yeah.
So we kind of trundle along doing
And
what
young
we can.
people don't do much crafts anymore.
No.
Crafts are
And if
thing
they
of the
do,
history.
if they do, it's something they want to sell themselves, or
That's
just
the way it's
yeah,
gone,
yeah,
hasn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right.
it's difficult. We used to meet once a month, was it? I think once a month when we first started. I can't remember really. But we don't have that kind of meeting anymore. When we want to do something, we get a half a dozen of us together who can say if they want to do this or that and decide what we're going to do from there. And so it's not very active.
Oh, but it really was. I mean,
yes.
I can remember being the president for a year, and you were always doing something,
Yeah.
always. And fundraising was a big thing.
And we
Yeah.
had craft sessions and
Yes.
things with lots of
Yes.
people,
Yeah.
you know.
We'd go to someone's house in
Now,
the
well,
afternoon.
crafts
for
are
2
Linda,
or 3
Elliott, or me.
2 or 3 hours and work on a specific project for the bazaar or something.
Right. And in those days, we went to conferences.
Yes.
Especially Thunder Bay, and you
Yeah.
got to know a lot of people that were involved in hospital
Yes.
auxiliaries up there.
Yeah.
Right, I remember that kind of thing. And I'm sure once a year, Nipigon and Red Rock got together. I seem to recall us.
I think more than
getting-
once. We would
Maybe.
have a potluck with them in June when our year had kind of ended. And then I think we did one at Christmas too, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I just remember
My
getting
head
together
was
with
blank.
them a couple of
Yeah,
times.
yeah. And some of the projects we did would be joint as well. I can't think of any of them at the moment,
I
but
imagine some fundraising might have been to
Yeah.
buy big
Well,
things.
well, Chris Kringle was always together.
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
They would help us.
Have
And
you any
it would be-
memory in the past of things that you did provide?
Oh, dear.
Like, I know you raised money for equipment sometimes, but
Yes, we did. I can't even think what. There was that big one a few years back. What was that? Not X-ray. I really
Something in the
can't. I
lab,
can't.
I
I've got
think.
no good head for remembering things.
Yeah.
But especially when we had both auxiliaries, I think we even went together to furnish a room when they built the new hospital, that kind of thing. But
And if then you do the, I'm gonna say a lounge, but there's a little room on the side there that somebody can go, a quiet room. Yes, a quiet room it was called.
I don't
I
know if
remember you
we
being
contributed
involved.
to that or not.
My mom was here then, and I just
okay.
remember being involved in
Yeah.
that quiet room it was
Yeah.
called.
I know
where a
we
person could-
donated the big chair for palliative care, that one
Yeah.
lounge chair one time. They
Yeah,
asked
not
us-
that long ago, because
not
there's a
long
given
ago.
out. Yeah, yeah, odd things not odd
Well.
things, but things here and there like that. But
that
you know,
they needed.
yeah, but to do a full room or a major piece of equipment, we don't raise that kind of money anymore. We couldn't even think of it.
Most
Right.
departments want a little bit, littler things so we can spread the money out amongst the departments rather than
Yeah,
just one specific thing.
yeah. And whatever we spend on the residents is fine. We do what we can there. So
So I was thinking when I went to your Chris Kringle, then you get a lot of support from the community though for your penny auction.
Yeah.
definitely from the penny auction.
Yes.
At one point, we didn't have to. Our auxiliary would donate a third of the things. Red Rock's auxiliary would donate a third, and we'd take a third out of the gift shop. So we didn't have to approach local people for them at that point. But now, we don't have the gift shop anymore. We don't have the Red Rock auxiliary anymore. So we bum from the merchants, and they're very good at donating for that particular
Yeah.
thing. We only ask for once a year, and we don't ask for major items, although some of them give us major items, but just something small to fill out a table.
You have a lot of things at your penny
We do.
auction.
We have a really
You
good one.
A lot of
Yeah.
things there. I know people walk around that table twice because there's so many
Yeah.
things
Well,
there.
we have a lot of people in town that do donate to that too, that
Yeah.
they've gotten stuff and
Yeah.
they've never
Regift.
opened or regift or
Right,
whatever. And
right,
Yeah.
which is perfectly fine.
Yeah, and they still donate for our bake table, but there are fewer people who do that now
bakers
as well.
are dwindling.
Yeah, same
And
as
that's one of the
knitters.
first things that sells out, right?
Yes, 20 minutes and it's gone.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you have on the table.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody
so-
still likes home baking. It's interesting, eh?
There was a time with Chris Kringle where we used to move back and forth. One year to be in Nipigon and 1 year in Red Rock. And it just one of the things that happened one time in Red Rock, it was at the Legion. And before we opened the doors, people were lined up down to Saunders Corner and around the corner, waiting to get in. When we opened the doors, it's just like you know when you see the
Little
big
sales.
sales on Macy's or something, how they're pushing each other. It was like that. They came in the doors and pushed the tables back so that people behind them were squashed right up against the wall, couldn't move, and just boom, you know.
Yeah.
You don't get crowds like that or the stuff to sell to them like that anymore.
But now, even now, the bake tables, the ones they line up right from, you know,
the
Vizio
hall.
right to the front door.
Right,
They're
yeah.
down the line because there's usually a table across the door that they can't come in and carry all their purchases before.
Yeah.
Well,
before
and I'm not running down Mrs. Harding because she was a very good volunteer, but
Yeah.
one of her things was don't open that door until
It's
2
time.
o'clock, until
Exactly.
you advertise it, because she knew
Yeah.
everybody is waiting to
Yeah.
flock in, eh? And
Yeah.
she
Well,
was, that was one of her
And
things.
we always felt it wasn't fair to pre-sell when everybody else is coming for the right time, so.
Yeah, right, yeah.
We still find that we have to put it, if people are bringing bacon, they can put it on the table, but we can't pull that table away until it's time, because we haven't even got the prices on the baking yet.
Kind of nice, though, that a bake sale is successful like that.
It
Very
is, yeah.
successful.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, Linda, you were telling me that you were given a life membership.
I was. And Dianne got one as well, but Dianne didn't go to Toronto for hers.
Oh, so you
I
both
think
have-
I was the last from our auxiliary that they sent.
Oh.
And I got down there, and I was, I don't know, maybe in my 30s, late 30s at that point, or early 30s. All the other recipients were over 70, at least over 70. And I felt a little out of place, and some of them kind of looked at me like, "What are you doing here? We've spent our whole life giving." But it was like really quite amazing. I don't know if that helped to keep me doing auxiliary work all these years, but it was.
So it'd be people from across Ontario.
Yep. Yeah, all of Ontario and different people who'd been nominated by their auxiliaries to receive a life membership.
And where did you get yours presented, Diane?
I never got one.
No, not that one. Yeah, you did. It was a local one
Yeah.
that they had given us
Yeah,
the
not
certificates
that
for
one.
people that no. It was meant to be kind of the same thing, but it wasn't. It wasn't presented in front of the whole
Oh,
Ontario
right.
thing. It was a local one to give to people that you honored for all the work they put in. And Diane still is putting in lots of work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No.
Yeah. It was-
No, I can remember, and I was telling you, my mom and Lorraine McKinnon, I remember them going to the convention in Toronto.
Yeah.
And so is there still that hierarchy of
I think that there
hospital
still
auxiliaries?
is, but we have not been involved
Right.
Past the local level for quite a long time. There's a
Right.
fee, so we got cheap,
Right.
and we didn't really have very many people who wanted to attend the conventions and things.
Right, right.
So
And then we lost our gift shop.
yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That was the biggie. We lost the gift shop, so
Yeah.
we didn't have nothing in common with the other gift shops, really.
Right.
we didn't anyhow because they always sold more
Yeah.
giftware than homemade things.
And lots
which
of
we
the
did.
gift shops sell lottery tickets and books.
Yes,
and
they do
now,
all
more
kinds of things.
magazines.
Yeah.
Than we did here.
But
Yeah.
um,
But it was all, I mean, the gift shop, I just remember, as you say, Diane, at the old hospital, there was so many people involved in all those little things that
Yeah.
the gift shop did. And patients were looking forward to that tuck cart coming around.
Mm-hmm. They were.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
It was hard when we moved to the new hospital. A lot of the volunteers that we had working the gift shop at the
That's me.
at the old hospital, that little couple of extra blocks seemed to be too much because they'd walk to the gift shop and stuff, and they didn't seem to want to go that extra stuff and get involved in the new hospital and all they were doing. So we lost a lot of the people that ran the gift shop.
And then they put the
eventually-
lottery in there, and then nobody wanted to.
Yeah,
have anything to do
that's
with
right,
that.
I forgot about that. We did
Oh, you
pool
did?
tickets for
Oh,
a long
did you?
time.
Yeah, but then and a lot of the volunteers didn't want
they
nothing to
didn't
do
wanna
with
have-
it.
Intimidated by it.
Didn't want to have anything to do
too
with
much
that.
money
too
to that's harder
To
to
be
account
responsible
for.
for.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But
Okay, I didn't remember that.
yeah, yeah, that was in the old one. And when we moved to the new one, we had volunteers for quite a while at the beginning, but they kind of dwindled off. So the managing for the gift shop went through the hospital, and the person running the gift shop also did handy van, and they did television rentals through the gift shop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and then that got, so it didn't pay, so they
Oh, yeah.
closed that down, and eventually now the gift shop's gone as well. They
Gone
had
as
to
well.
do some
Right.
repair work in the roof, and it was in the way, so.
Right, yeah. Well, it was a major part of the hospital anyway, and
Yeah.
the running of the hospital. I just think the major volunteers of the things that went on. And, I can remember my mum even dressing up like Santa Claus.
yes.
Yeah,
I
Going there
I
on
remember those.
yeah,
Yeah.
Christmas Eve too. So
Yeah.
um, maybe it was, I don't know, smaller, more friendly sometimes, I think, and the regulations weren't as stiff as they are today.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think the rules and regulations opt us out. A lot of the
Right.
people didn't want to come volunteer because everything had to be exact.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
a lot of red tape.
Lots of red tape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, you two should be congratulated for your continued service at the hospital. in
We have
Surrey.
days when we've had enough, but
Yes.
I know. but
Someday.
most
still.
of the time we're okay. We figure as long as we can, we'll keep doing Kris Kringle because it's our one fundraiser, and after
Okay.
that we'll see.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.